Welcome everyone to tonight's episode of the Sports Insiders. I am the sniper. This is the sports agent, and down there is the pundit. Yes, you are seeing three on the screen uh, for the first time ever here. So we do have a great show for you all. Before we get started,
By the
um,
way, talk to him for a second. I got one thing to do real fast, okay? But I'll be disappear, but I'll be back, okay? Hold on.
okay. Well, before we get started, everyone follow us on all of our profiles at Sideline Sport One. We are on Facebook, X, Twitter, as well as TikTok. We have two TikToks: Sideline Sports and Sideline One Sports. Sideline One Sports is run by that guy down there. Tune in and get all of his takes. We appreciate everybody following and tuning in. And we're gaining our following. You know, slowly but surely we're getting up there. And also, I had one more thing here. Nah, it'll come to me. Okay, yep. Just follow us on all of our shit. All right, so starting out today, and as you can see in the topics, the Major League Baseball Commissioner Rob Manfred intends to realign MLB teams and or expand by the year 2030. So basically, he is looking at adding two teams, which would make both at both leagues at 16 teams apiece. But more on that in a minute. Nashville, some possible sites for expansion teams: Nashville, Tennessee; Raleigh, North Carolina; also Charlotte, North Carolina; Orlando, Florida. He said that the expansion would allow for geographical realignment, much like the NFL kind of is right now. And it would end the league. It would officially be the league era, and move to Eastern and Western Conference formats. Sean, if you want to expand on this.
Yeah, so he was on, it was either Saturday or Sunday Night Baseball, and they asked him because, these cities have been building up investment groups, getting bids ready, stadiums are ready to go after secure these bids from MLB. And they're going to give out two teams. So obviously only two of these four cities that we mentioned are going to be chosen here. But he said, by evening it out, now he can do his geographical realignment, which, like you said, it abolishes the American and National League as we know it. We'll just add to the Eastern and Western Conference format right now. One of the rumored divisions is the Mets, Red Sox, Yankees, and Phillies.
Right. Yeah, it was. I know that when you realign it, it's going to take away. I actually saw a Facebook page that had a potential like a mock realignment, And from its format, while you did keep rivalries such as, the Lone Star State rivalry between Houston and Texas, and like Mets Braves, and no, not Mets Braves, and like Yankees Red Sox, it did take away from Mets Braves.
Yep. Yeah, no, 100%. And, even to a lesser extent, just for as long as, the Braves have played the Marlins and the Braves have played the Mets in that division, because every couple of years that team seems to be relevant and they seem to be getting back in their swing of things. And for me, just as looking at it, from a long time perspective, I don't know if I want to see the Mets and Yankees playing 15 times a year.
Yeah, it was. It definitely is different. The Yankees, Mets. I think it was Yankees, Mets, Red Sox, and I know Philly. I know in that one that I saw on the Facebook page. I know they had the Orioles and the Nationals in the same division, which would keep the Beltway Series, the Battle of the DMV. It was some interesting concepts, and essentially what it was like NFL. NFL had four divisions, per conference. It was the same in Major League Baseball, but it had like the NL Northwest, the NL Southwest, the AL like Northeast. Like it was kind of like that. But Jacob, what is your thoughts on all of this?
Name those teams again. By that, you said that that would be coming in as far as the expansion.
Okay, so you got Charlotte, North Carolina; Raleigh, North Carolina; Nashville, Tennessee; and Orlando, Florida. Those are the four teams. I'm pretty sure that there are other teams being considered, or the cities being considered. However, those four are currently like leading the pack.
Well, one of the biggest things is you got to realize that because Manfred's an idiot, he doesn't want to have to think about what he would do with all of those other states. Got to remember that would be a monopoly on the South.
Yeah.
figure that whatsoever, and trying to figure all those because he doesn't want to have to figure 2 teams going to the National, 2 teams going to American. And remember, the National and American League has been dead anyway, considering we play every team now.
Yeah.
It's been dead. We don't have to have an idea. What would the Phillies and the Yankees be like? Well, like we used to. We don't have that because they play 6 times a year.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We don't have that anymore. So the big thing about it is, here's the deal. You don't have the Braves and the Mets anymore. You'd have, but you do have the Cubs and Cardinals even more now because and the White Sox and the Cubs even more now. So there's
Cubs Pittsburgh would go away though.
Huh?
Cubs Pittsburgh would go away.
Yeah, I know. Yeah. Well, that just means they have to go pick up skis and not worry about it. But but the biggest thing about it, you got to realize this now become like the NFL. Because they're trying to say, well, it would just be less traveling. Depends, because of the thing right now, you've got the Chargers this year having something like 47,000 miles here.
Yep.
And stuff like that, and then the number 2 is the Rams.
Yeah.
And both of them are in those things where they have to go play like in the Midwest and they have to play in the South. And, they're in those, they have those kind of thing that year. That's what would happen in this league is you would have, let's just say the Dodgers have that every 4 years would have to go 50,000 miles.
Yeah, pretty much.
Every 4 years because they'd have to go everywhere instead of doing that. And instead of them coming or one of those. So it would, in certain cases, it would cut down traveling, but for about 4 teams, it doesn't.
No, it really doesn't, and that's also, and that's not including the opener in Japan every single year, or how every couple of years they go play in another location. I don't know if you remember back in 2012, they had the first ever game in Cuba. President Obama was in attendance and everything, And you talk about the NFL teams, and it's like, okay, like the Chargers, teams on the West, they're going like 46,000 miles, like per year. That's not including if they have a London game or a Brazil game or a Germany game.
Absolutely, and one of the issues that we've got with something like this is, with the NFL's got casuals as far as fans.
Mm-hmm.
They do. I mean, that's why Caleb Williams even exists, or that's why they even exist in the first place because casuals love to look at highlights and the slobber highlights.
Yes,
attention to things, or they play fantasy football. But Major League Baseball doesn't have those casuals, and they think they're going to bring these casuals in. No one wants to watch 9-inning games.
Yeah.
Remember, during COVID time, they had those 7-inning double headers.
Mm-hmm.
$1,000 they're going to try to bring those back. Headers, which will break all kinds of records that don't need to be broken first. So, really, by itself, it's all Manfred ruining the game. He put a Cracker Barrel the game. He's gonna put a crappy logo on the deal whatsoever to try to get the game or try to get casual, just like Cracker Barrel's trying to get younger people, which is never going to happen. So one of the biggest things, something's going to happen in the middle of something like that. They're going to bring it back to divisions, or they're going to do something even worse to cover it up when it gets worse.
Yeah, no, indeed. And we're going to go on to our next topic, but first, a little commercial break. We got to pay some bills. What bills are we really paying? But I love the statement. Be right back.
Sideline Sports live every Tuesday night at 8:30 p.m. Eastern Time.
Caitlin Clark is Larry Bird, I would say, and Paige Beckers is Magic Johnson.
It's kind of like an oxymoron,
Yeah, moron is right.
Maybe when they listen to people like you, that's how they continue being the Browns.
They did have that type of talent for the pro level, but the scouts failed the team.
I disagree. The Panthers, I'm not saying they're making the playoffs, but they're going to be really hard to beat this year. Bryce Young,
so they're not winning the division. Hooked up with some chick, and then he told her he was a linebacker.
That is our flagship show, the Sideline Sports Show, with JB Ellis, John Shear, and Dave DeRocher. So watch that on Tuesday nights at 8:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time here on the Sideline Sports Network.
It's the only way you could have John Shearer yell at Dave DeRocher without getting his neck snapped.
Yeah, pretty much. That would be it. That would be it. All right, and so now,
Hey,
yeah. Well, now for our next topic, and that is the current update on our NFL hold-ins and holdouts. Pretty much the hot topics. There's four of them here, and that's with Micah Parsons, Trey Hendrickson, Terry McLaurin, and James Cook. Sean, take it away. Your details on this.
Yeah, so Micah's not practicing, but he's attending meetings, and I know we've seen several guys do this, and the thought process probably is, why are guys doing this? Is it a tactic? It's not as much of a tactic as by attending the meeting, you avoid the fine. You don't actually have to practice to, get fined, or not practice to get fined. You just have to you can't not attend both things. So these guys are attending meetings, avoiding the fine, and then when practice starts, they're kind of packing up and going home. It was rumored at some point over the last week, the Packers offered a package to the Cowboys that included up to 5 draft picks, including a first next year, a second next year, an additional second, unknown what the other 2 would have been. And we'll touch on this more next week when we discuss the new Netflix on Jerry Jones. Is Jones, or it's already been talked about for years, but is Jones becoming a real problem for Dallas with how stingy he's becoming with these negotiations to still be their GM? Parsons is clearly unhappy. It doesn't seem Jones wants to pay another guy after paying Lamb and Dak, and kind of going through the same exact thing. I'm kind of holding him hostage over it until he paid up. I think 5 picks would be a huge haul for a team that's not a Super Bowl contender this season. If they're not going to come to a deal, I think you would have to consider something like that. And the Packers aren't in your division. That's usually where you want to trade a star, is at least away from you, so you're not seeing them 2 times a year, unless it's the 1 and 4 plus the playoffs. But you're not going to see them trade them in division. So I think they should consider a package like that if it continues on. And Parsons seems pretty comfortable with sitting out weeks 1, 2, and however far he wants to go with it.
Yeah, absolutely. And then by the way, to answer your question, is Jones becoming a problem as GM? You asked that question about 20 years too late, brother. With that being said, on Trey Hendrickson, so there's no deal yet, but reportedly he has demanded a trade. And was there anything new on that one? Neither team has really budged on that one, have they?
Yeah, he still wants more guaranteed. He said in the media, and whether it's come out through his agent or him personally, he said they're not guaranteeing him any money after the first year. They just gave Burrow and Chase guaranteed money after the first year. It's not a Cincinnati thing to do. And they're sticking to, obviously Burrow and Chase are outliers because of who they are versus, I'm not saying Trey Hendrickson's not a superstar, but they're saying you're not Joe Burrow and you're not Jamar Chase. We're not going to do guarantees after the second year. So he's in camp. He's not practicing, but he's demanded a trade because he said it's just there's no way at this point he feels like they're going to give him that. Basically 1 extra year of guaranteed money is what he's looking for, and he's not getting it. Not at least from Cincinnati. Now, it's been said they've been giving him this permission for months. From the sounds of it, I think he's wanted to stay, and he hasn't really looked around for a trade, even though he's had that permission to do so. I think things will ramp up this week, especially since teams got to get rosters down here, in the next 12 days.
Yep, absolutely. And then also a little further on that one. So Commanders wide receiver Terry McLaurin, he's holding in. He wants to trade, but it looks like he may be traded next offseason for a mid-rounder. Your thoughts about that one?
I think it's very similar to what we saw with Debo and the 49ers last year. They had, he was coming off a good year, but, it had not been a consistent thing. And I think you can say the same about McLaurin. He had a bigger year with Daniels at quarterback. I would hold him to doing it one more time. He's under contract, and it looks like the Commanders are going to stick to their guns on this one. But I think with the noise he's made, it's going to be like Debo was, this year. He'll be the first move next offseason. He'll start us off going somewhere for a mid-round pick.
Yeah, absolutely. And then switching it, Let's switch on over to Jacob here. Now, also other ones that are on making the rounds. Steelers Cam Hayward, and he's holding in. He says he's willing to sit out the entire regular season. Bills running back James Cook is holding in. But he was holding in, but Bills and Cook did reach a 4-year agreement late last week. And Juwan Jennings, wide receiver for the 49ers, holding in, but he's also injured. He was practicing before the injury. So even without a deal, Juwan Jennings still may be suiting up the season. So your thoughts about that and everything else?
Well, let me bring this part up. First thing I myself ankle, all I can think about is MTV's The Head.
Oh, okay.
but no, I mean, here's the thing. Let me talk about Jerry Jones first, okay?
All right.
You talk about an old man that is not thinking at all. He has had a quarterback. Now, mind you, it's Dak, and he's had a lot of everything, but he's also been 2 out of the 3 years. 3 out of the last 4, excuse me. Either all the long-term injury or most of the season. You know what I'm saying? With a bad ankle, bad whatever. Had to play Cooper Rush, do whatever, okay? Cooper Rush is now gone. So here's the thing. Think about this for a second. By itself, whatsoever, why in the world, considering how many quarterbacks in the league right now, I mean, I'm saying Tyson Bagent just got I think backup, got 2 years, $10 million. Fact. They're paying backups. The thing is, Shedeur Sanders is right on the thing, and he played pretty darn well. There you are. The thing I have to say with something like this is, why is he going for so much for Micah when he could go a couple of picks and a really valuable backup? Or that's all he'd have to do, because Dak has that mindset like the fan. Oh, Dak will be in this year and he's going to get big for my fantasy team. No, you can't guarantee that. Why would you not? And you obviously you're not going to go get Agent now, but why would you not go get Shedeur?
True.
Not go get Gabriel. Why would you not get Pickett? Why would you not get any of those guys for just in case, knowing that they're probably going to play this year? I'll give you another one, Cousins.
Kirk Cousins. But it's also argued that Kirk Cousins and Dak Prescott are the same guy. So are you really moving the needle by going to get Cousins?
At this point in time, at this point in time, though, it's a body. Yeah, they're the same guy, but it's like you wouldn't have to be able to do offense knowing the same guy be the same offense.
Okay.
But the big thing I'm bringing is just any of those things. And right now, you've got two very I'd say you don't have a clue if they're going to work out if Dak gets hurt. Rush would be something. He'd be at 185 yards, a touchdown and an interception, but they won some games with him.
They did.
You knew that part, but you don't have that part anymore. And Dak goes down, now you don't know. And that's one of the things is he's asking for all of this amount he's not going to get, then you can not get there. You can just go get a quarterback.
Yeah.
Go get a quarterback, couple picks. Really by itself. You are getting yourself something you need badly, and the people over there are getting a what's a good word for it? They're getting a bargain.
Yeah. I mean, like if you let Dak walk, right? Okay. Yeah. If you let him walk, or you trade him or something like that, right? And you got backup Joe Mixon. Yeah. And let's just say, not Joe Mixon, I'm sorry, Joe Milton. Joe Milton III. Yeah, you got Joe Milton III. And let's say at absolute best, he's a black Jimmy G. That's fine. That'll hold you over until you draft your quarterback of the future.
Sure. I mean, absolutely. It's like, no, I knew what you meant, though, because you have Mixon. But but those are the things. This is why his ego gets over him.
True.
His ego gets over him. It's Jerry Jones is the, and I'm going to say this is the complete truth. Jerry Jones is the Donald Trump with the USFL in the 85.
Exactly, he is. That is dead on target.
Overthinks it.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
All he would need to do is go. There are 4 quarterbacks we can name right now that you can put right now to back up Dak, and he's probably playing this year.
Yeah.
Shedeur is definite. I mean, Shooter is definitely. Yeah, I mean, it was Tyson until he got the contract. It was any of we had a couple of them extra ones in the Browns.
Right.
Let's see on the Browns whatsoever. In truth, you probably have Kyle Allen on Pittsburgh.
Yeah.
Who's Kyle Allen played now for? Because he's not on Pittsburgh anymore.
I think he's in Detroit.
Thank you, Detroit. Really, you could go do that, and you could trade quarterbacks anyway.
Right.
Detroit would love to be able to get Trey.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So you can just trade that off. So he's not thinking, and it's like it's the same part as you get. And we'll go to Cincinnati now with Mike Brown. He basically is an 8-year-old played Madden.
Yeah.
He paid 3 big guys with the offense and everything, and most likely Burrow gets killed because your defense is to trying to walk.
Yeah.
So in truth, you just go get Burrow. You get Burrow in your fantasy team. Go get and try to load up your fantasy team.
Yeah.
You know, with Bengals, it's because it's whether they win or lose, it's going to be 50 points every week.
100%. And we had touched about it on when T. Higgins and Jamar signed that they spent zero money on defense. And I expect, like you, they're just going to be in shootouts all year long. And if they have to move Hendrickson, whether they get something that is a player this year, or whether they just get picks, you're looking at another hole in their weak defense.
Oh,
yeah.
And he was all of that defense last year, all of it.
Yes.
Yeah, 100%. 100%.
It's literally the equivalent of if Richard Dent was the whole 46. It's literally the equivalent of. So it's had help.
Yeah.
What else can you do to Brock Purdy anyway?
Yeah.
We're literally talking about Sky Moore yesterday, and I'd like the off the camera thing with it's because he's going to be doing a bunch of 3-yard outs and hoping Sky goes 60.
Pretty much.
But he doesn't have Ayuk. He doesn't have. I'm trying to. I'm saying who else? I mean, Devon. I'm just saying. On the Commanders.
Yeah.
Yeah. He doesn't have any of those guys anymore. He does have Christian.
Yes, that's true.
And they're saying he's healthy, but his track record is he's healthy for 1, down for 2. So this would be the second year he's supposed to go down.
Yeah.
And then Jennings is hurt. Jordan Watkins, their wide receiver, high ankle sprain. He's expected to miss some of the first couple of weeks. Demarcus Robinson, wide receiver, suspended for 3 weeks. I don't know who they're going to throw to other than Kittle and McCaffrey the first 4 games.
Ricky Pearsall.
Yeah, Pearsall. If he could stay healthy, he's healthy right now. He's looked good this preseason. But it'd be interesting to see how they hold up. They have an easy schedule, but you still got to have guys that are out there catching and running a little bit.
Just keep guns away from him; he'll be fine. But but no,
wait, shouldn't we be saying the same thing about John Morant? No, just kidding. Go ahead.
Yeah.
But see, he's just pointing him at you. He's not getting shot.
Yeah. Hey, hold on. But he left with the Rolex, though. He left with the Rolex.
That's true. But the big thing about it is if a fantasy player wants to risk their whole season on their running backs, just go after McCaffrey at 17 because he's all there. And especially if Jawan's trying to get his contract.
Yeah, you got the Niners that are healing up, and I mean, dude, they can't afford one crucial injury, and it's the Rams division. It just is. It just is. You could probably argue that right now, even with who they got that's not hurt, I think the Rams are going to be the team to beat in that division.
What's going to be funny is Jimmy G is going to do it because Stafford's back is acting up. Jimmy G is going to come back to haunt the Niners.
The thing, here, let me say this. Sean.
Mm-hmm.
You know what Jimmy G is? Jimmy G is Mitch Trubisky with 50 more starts.
Yeah.
I mean,
hold on. He's Mitch Trubisky with 50 more starts and a porn star. Go ahead.
True. See, because Mitch got married early. That's the only reason. But still.
Yeah.
but no. The big thing about it is true. It's like you could do, like, the reason I said Mitch Trubisky had 50 more starts and the porn star, thank you. It's like the reason you say something like that is because it's the same rollouts, same on the run throws, same all that kind of stuff like that. It's like you could insert either of them and get the same results.
But also everything you just described, who does that sound like right now? Brock Purdy.
Yeah, absolutely. And you got to remember when I brought up Trubisky, I brought up the whole thing with Dallas. Remember, that's a guy with 75 career touchdowns.
Yeah, this was when Brock Purdy got his deal, and I told everyone, whether they agreed with him or not, with me or not, he was going to get his money. But essentially, let's face it, they paid big money to the same guy. If you looked at Jimmy G's like last 13 games with the Niners and Brock Purdy's first 13, they had similar stats. They got a similar play style.
True. But you just came up with an idea. I just came up with an idea. I heard a rumor that it was going to Buffalo. Micah. There's the bunch of those things. There's your other part of the quarterback right there. There's 55 starts.
Yeah.
There's 55 starts for your backup. You don't need to do Trey. You can just get rid of that if you need.
Yeah.
But there's your thing. Mind you, that Buffalo would severely miss him because he's big in the room for the film.
Yeah.
But if he wants to play still, he's probably playing this year.
Yeah.
But see, it's little things that I'm just giving a deal. These are little things you don't think of because remember what I said, USFL don't Trump. That's what Jimmy Jones. Jerry.
Yeah.
That's what he doesn't. He's over things with that. It's like I thought of a couple ideas right there, just in case it gets hurt.
Yeah. Well, with that being said, let's move on to our final topic, and that is UFC and Paramount have just struck a deal for $7.7 billion. A bit of the details right here. Let's see. Think it's safe to say that pay-per-view is officially dead in the United States of 2026. ESPN and Paramount's recent moves. Only All Elite Wrestling is left with actual pay-per-views. Sean, you want to go into the details?
Go ahead, Jacob.
I said, not for long. They won't. You know, he is not. They can't get anybody anyway.
Yeah, go ahead, Sean.
You're good. So I mean, it's interesting what's happened here, right? Because obviously we haven't had a pay-per-view per se for WWE in a long time. They've been on a streaming network for about 10 years now, ever since the original Peacock deal. But UFC was still known to throw out these big events. And now everything is just going to move to Paramount. A couple of these will be simulcast on CBS even, which is, something that also doesn't happen with a pay-per-view event. You don't usually see it simulcast on a national network. The deal overall, 7 years, 7.7 or 1.1 billion annually to the media rights for UFC. It's going to double their entire profit of media rights, average annual earnings just from this deal. Paramount is obviously banking on the UFC continuing to grow as they have over the last decade. It's going to be a cornerstone now of the network. And, my understanding, Paramount's still bidding to get even more media right entities in the network. I know they've been involved in getting some of the NFL holiday games, in the last couple of years. I expect they'll get involved with the MLB when they go that route, which will be part of the expansion alignment, which, is part of that too, in terms of media rights. So I think Paramount's going to be a big player here now, and especially with, the power of the UFC. And if that includes the entire library, kind of like what WWE is going to do here shortly with ESPN, if it includes the entire library where you're going to be able to go on Paramount and rewatch the events, I mean, it's a huge deal for Paramount.
Yes, it is. Yep, indeed. And Jacob, your thoughts about this?
Well, let me tell you this. What was Forrest Griffin's main rival?
Penn, wasn't it?
Huh?
Penn, wasn't it?
No. Forrest Griffin. The first fight on Spike.
Oh man, Sean, you know him?
Drawing a blank.
That's way. But anyway, Spike TV.
Spawn Spike TV. Was it Stephen Bonner?
Yep, Stephen Bonner.
Okay.
Died in 2022, but I'm just saying that fight started Spike TV, and it got an enormous deal. And then they went on pay-per-view, and it didn't have as many watching, and they were both 3 unbelievable rounds, both of them.
Yeah.
Unbelievable. They over the years and stuff like that, Dana was noticing that.
Mm-hmm.
Crazy fights on Spike. They're getting these crazy fights, just like they're getting the UFC Vegas. They're getting these crazy fights, and they don't have to even go on pay-per-view.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, look what they're doing now. I watched 3 pay-per-view, 3 UFCs ago. I watched a movie theater.
Mm-hmm.
Nice. What they have to, they don't have to get, that's that they call closed circuit back in the day. You don't have to even do anything pay-per-view anymore. It's like everything is streaming. Cable will die. Everything is streaming now. Everything is just monthly. You got to realize you do this deal because people are morons.
Yeah.
Because they're always thinking, oh, if I pay this amount a month, $29.99, that's so much better than my $180. Well, let's add up. I'm paying $360 a month. But see, that's what the streaming companies are hoping for, is the idiot that people are morons and they don't look at their they don't look at their checkbook if they have a checkbook.
If they have a checkbook, yeah.
Checkbook, they're in a small town. But those are the things. Dana's been noticing that. Dana's been around since 2001. He was around when Joe Rogan did the first 16 UFCs that he was on without getting paid. Because they had no money. They were hemorrhaging it.
Mm-hmm.
He's known every detail. He was hemorrhaging money. He was flying on credit cards all that time and stuff like that to try to save the business, trying to advertise, trying to get everything. He watches everything. He knows very well that pay-per-view is dead. Who wants to pay $79.99 a month?
Yeah.
$79 per show, instead of the $29.99 a month. They're not thinking, and then they're going to get an archive, obviously.
Yeah.
They're going to get archives of old shows. So you're going to see 1990.
Yeah.
So you'll see UFC 1. It's coming in there. The whole thing. They're going to make a deal on the UFC app. They're going to do all this. So look at the thing that they're going to have now. The world's an oyster for them.
Yeah, pretty much. Well, that's our show for this evening. Thank you everybody for tuning in. Jacob, where can everybody find you, buddy?
Oh, right here, right now, actually. But no. I am on Jacob Christner on Facebook. Sideline One Sports on TikTok. On there. Jacob Christner _ on Instagram. And then I write a little bit, so I'm on Substack and Ricochet, just a different thing. And I once in a blue moon get when I have the itch.
All right. Well, hey, thanks everybody for tuning in for the Sports Agent and the Pundit. I am Denzel Snipes, and we will see you all next week for another edition of the Sports Insiders on Sideline Sports.